I think the consensus that the fillet of fish was just okay, meh at best. But here's something that I think that everyone in this room, knowing us guys, can get behind to do for Lent. And that is the 40-day beer-only Catholic fast. Nothing besides beer for 40 days.
I don't know, man. I'd be a wreck.
Ugh.
I'd be a wreck.
I feel bloated already.
Yeah.
I'm a wreck after a 2-day only beer fast.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, hey, there's Ryan again.
He's coming in for breakfast.
The guy behind the bar is like, dude, you doing okay?
You depressed? No, I'm observing my Lenten fast.
Hey, Catholic, why the long face? Oh, gosh. So, no, in the early 1600s, there were the Paulaner friars, and they lived in Bavaria. And one of their things was they already had in their order a year-round Lent. That was one of their charisms. So they observed what everyone else did during Lent the entire year. So they said, well, since we're already doing a year-round Lent, we need to do something extra. We need to take it to another step during the actual 40 days of Lent. So they were brewers and they were making beer and they came up with something. They're like, here's the idea. Let's make a beer that is so malty and so nutritious that we can have only that. And they called it liquid bread. And that is a Doppelback beer.
Doppelback. I've had a Doppelback before.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, I've
They
had
are.
one too. They're good.
So the idea
these guys
was,
are all like getting in fights. And,
Oh, yeah. No. Their Lenten observance was like pretty impressive.
The way that
I think I'd rather be hangry than
Brother
hammered for
John,
40
I never
days.
knew you felt that way about me.
got in a fist fight every night of Lent.
Frere Jacques, you don't even know me. You don't even know. You know what? No, I'm kidding. I love you. I love you.
Sorry.
No. So this beer was really specifically brewed to be very nutritious, but very low in alcohol. It's probably like 2.5% alcohol at the very most, but it was very caloric, very rich in nutrients, and it was able to sustain them for 40 days. Now, they wanted to make sure that their practice was licit. So they were going to petition the Pope and say, Holy Father, are we allowed to do this practice? So they got together a barrel of beer and they put it on their cart and they're coming all the way from Bavaria and they're taking it all the way down to Rome. Right? Well, as it happens, it had been an extraordinarily and unseasonably hot time of year. And this trip took longer than they planned. And the beer got skunky. It was no good.
Stanky legs.
Stanky beer.
It was stank. So they
Put some stank on it.
So they went over the Alps. They went through the entire Italian peninsula and they get down there and they say, Holy Father, try our beer and say, is this okay for us to live on for 40 days? Well, the beer sucked because it was ruined. And the beer, the Pope took a sip of it. And he's like, you guys, okay, number one, you guys suck at brewing because this is terrible beer. But because it's terrible, I'm going to allow you to do it. But the beer back home was still fresh, right? It had the born-on date and they were able to drink it. So that's why the Pope allowed them, because he thought the beer was terrible. But it was just because it was skunked from going through all of Italy and the Alps.
He's like, this is penance.
Yeah.
Are you sure you want to do this?
So
That's a cool story.
Yeah. So that cloister is no longer there, but there is still to this day a brewer there. And like, if you've ever seen Paulaner beers,
Yeah.
that's the same kind of beer. That type of beer and that tradition lives on in those.
Cool. Steady.